Hello people, welcome to my YouTube channel Free Management Education. Today we will discuss about dividend theories. The topics that will be covered are basic definitions, the models like Walter model, Gordon model, MM approach, residual approach and the bird in the hand theory. Moving on. So what is dividend? A firm earns for its shareholders. Income remaining after meeting all the obligations of the firm belongs to the shareholders. The obligations are like repaying the debt amount and among others. So the income that remains after meeting all the obligations of the firm is distributed to the shareholders, and that part of the earning that is distributed is called dividend. See here, the part of the earning that is distributed is called dividend. The optimum dividend policy is the one that maximizes the value of the firm. Okay. Now the question of the ratio of retained to distributed earnings is referred to as dividend decision or policy. Now comes payout ratio. Okay. What is payout ratio? It is the percentage of earnings that is paid as dividend. Okay. Now suppose we are paying only 4% of the remaining earnings as dividend. That is the percentage. 4% is the percentage of earnings paid as dividend. High payout ratio means more dividends and less funds for expansion or growth. Obviously, if the firm pays most of its reserves, most of its earning as dividends, then it has less money for expansion and growth. Whereas low payout means higher growth. Okay. Retention ratio indicates the percentage of a company's earnings that are not paid out in dividends. Here it is not paid out in dividends, but they are retained. They are credited to retained. Okay, they are not paid out. Then comes dividend yield. Dividend per share divided by share price. That is dividend yield. There are two schools of thoughts. One that is dividend policy affects the firm's value, and the other is that dividend policy is irrelevant to the firm's value or the value of the firm. Okay, moving on. Now comes Walter model. It is written as dividend relevance because Walter's model assumes that dividend policy affects the firm's value. That is, dividend policy is relevant to the firm's value. That is why it says dividend relevance. The assumptions are investments of the firm are all financed through their retained earning. That is internal financing. Okay. No new equity or debt is issued. The firm's rate of return R and its cost of capital K are constant. Entire earnings of the firm are either distributed as dividends or reinvested internally immediately. That is either 100% payout or retention. 100% payout or 100% retention. There is no middle path. Okay. The earnings per share and dividend per share remains constant. The firm has a very long or infinite life. Okay. So the formula for Walter's model is this. Just remember this. Here P is the market price per share, DIP is dividend per share, EPS is earning per share, R is firm's rate of return, K is firm's cost of capital or capitalization rate. Therefore, the conclusion is for growth firm, that is internal rate of return is greater than cost of capital, then retain all earnings, 0% payout. Okay, 0% payout, that is the firm is not paying anything to its shareholders. For normal firm, that is R equal to K, then dividend policy has no effect. It can either pay to its shareholders or it can retain all the earnings. That is 0 to 100% payout. For declining firm, that is rate of return is less than the cost of capital or the opportunity cost of capital, then distribute all earnings. That is 100% payout. 100% payout means they are paying all to the shareholders. Okay, moving on. Now comes the Gordon's model. It is also a dividend relevance model. Here assumptions are the firm is an all equity firm and has no debt. Okay. Like Walter's model, Gordon's model also use retained earnings for financing. That is internal financing and no external financing. Internal rate of return R and cost of capital K is constant. Perpetual earnings, that is never ending earning. Okay. Or repeated earnings. No taxes. The retention ratio B once decided is constant. It does not change. The retention ratio once decided does not change. The growth rate, remember this formula, G equal to BR. The growth rate G equal to BR is constant forever. Cost of capital is greater than the growth rate. Here the formula for Gordon's model is here. Okay, just remember it. Here B is the retention ratio and G equal to BR. You can also write K minus G in the denominator. Then the conclusion is for growth firms, that is when internal rate of return is greater than the cost of capital, the market value of share P0 increases with the retention ratio B. And for declining firms where internal rate of return is less than cost of capital, the market value of share P0 increases with the payout ratio. Remember this is retention ratio and this is payout ratio, 1 minus B. Okay, this is not retention ratio. Here it is written both are increasing, but one with retention ratio and one with payout ratio. Growth firms increases market value of share P0 increases with retention ratio, whereas for declining firms the market value of share increases with payout ratio. For normal firms R equal to K, the market value of share is not affected by dividend policy. Now the difference in Walter's model and Gordon's model relates to the dividend growth. Like what? Walter's model keeps the dividend amount constant in each period. Okay, but in Gordon's model it assumes growing dividend, okay, in each period. So Walter's model constant dividend in each period, whereas Gordon's model is growing dividend. Remember this, Gordon starts with G and it is also a growing dividend. This is a nice technique, so remember like that. So now comes the bird in the hand theory. What it says that the typical investor would most certainly prefer to have his dividend today and let tomorrow take care of itself. What it means, that the investor would want his money today rather than tomorrow, because tomorrow is uncertain. He or she doesn't know if he or she will get the money tomorrow or not. So tomorrow is uncertain, future is uncertain. No instances are on record in which withholding of dividends for the sake of future profits has been hailed with such enthusiasm as to advance the price of the stock. In other words, the investors does not like the idea of withholding of dividends for the sake of future profits. They want the money today. Okay, given to companies in the same general position and with the same earning power, one paying the larger dividend will always sell at a higher price. According to Gordon, investors are risk averters, that is, they don't want any risk. They consider distant dividend as less certain than near dividends. Obviously, investors value high payout firms, that is, high payout firms means the firms that pays most of the dividends. Investors value high payout firms and thus retained earnings are valued less than redistributed earnings. To summarize, bird in the hand argument suggests that increased dividend means increased certainty of cash flow. Obviously, this helps in reducing the discount rate, and so the value of the firm must increase with increased dividend, because increased dividend is increasing the shareholders' wealth and that is maximizing the value of the firm. Moving on. Now comes one of the most important approach, that is Miller-Modigliani hypothesis or MM approach. It is called irrelevance because it says that the dividend policy doesn't affect the firm's value. This approach assumes that firm's value depends on the firm's earnings that result from its investment policy and does not, remember this, does not depend upon dividend policy. Here the assumptions are perfect capital markets, that is where investors are rational, information is freely available to all, transaction and flotation cost does not exist, no investor is large enough to affect the market price of the share. There are no taxes, there is fixed investment policy, there is no risk, then obviously risk of uncertainty also does not exist since there is no risk. Internal rate of return R is equal to the discount rate K and are identical for all shares. Obviously, if R is equal to K, then there is only one discount rate that is appropriate for all securities. because R is equal to K, so only one rate is there. So one discount rate is appropriate for all securities and all the time periods. These are the formulas: value of the firm in MM approach and price of share in MM approach. Just remember them. Okay. Now, why is dividend policy irrelevant? This concept is important. Okay. Just remember it. MM theory is based on the arbitrage process. So what is arbitrage process? It is a simultaneous purchasing and selling of securities or assets in order to make money from the price differences. Suppose you buy a product in a market at a much cheaper rate, then you sell that particular product at a different market with a higher price. So that is the price difference. Arbitrage leads to entering into two transactions which exactly balances or completely offset the effect of each other. The two transactions here are paying of dividend and raising external capital. So as the firm uses retained earnings to finance new investments, then paying of dividends will require the firm to raise capital externally. Obviously, if the firm pays out its dividends, its reserves, its earnings, then it has no more money to further expand. So how the firm acquires money? By external financing, like issuing debt, like that. When dividends are paid, market price of the share decreases because of external financing. Thus, what is gained by the shareholders as a result of dividend is completely neutralized by the reduction in the market value of the shares because of external financing. They are taking debt, and this reduces the firm's market price of share. Firm's price of share. Okay. Thus, according to AM, the investors will thus be indifferent between dividends and the retained earnings. That is why dividend policy is irrelevant. It is because of this particular arbitrage process. Okay, remember this. Moving on. Then comes the residual approach. Here the assumptions are the firm relies on internal financing, as external financing can be costly and may not be available with the firm. The crux of this theory is that firms will pay dividends from the earnings that is left over, or residual earnings. That is earnings that is left over after all favorable investment opportunities has been financed. The primary focus of the firm's management is on investment and not on dividends. Okay, not on dividends. Though it's a dividend theory, the firm's primary focus of firm's management is on investment. Okay. The residual approach is a passive dividend policy and has no effect on the market price of the firm. So thank you for watching. This is a new channel, Fee Management Education, where we regularly post videos on management topics. Okay. Like and subscribe if you wish to, and do leave a comment if possible. Check out our other videos also. We will highly appreciate that. Our email ID is given in the description box, and if you want some videos on some specific topics, feel free to contact or feel free to comment, whatever. Okay. Thank you. Stay safe. Take care of your family.